everyone, it's Whitney from the Essential Planner Company. It is New Year! Happy New Year! It's January of 2020. I can't even believe I'm saying that, but I'm so excited. Fresh start, new year, always the most exciting time. And if you are engaged and planning your wedding and marriage, congratulations. I am so happy for you. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to launch a series of videos where I walk you through the Essential Wedding and Engagement Planner, starting with this one. And this will just be the preliminary, initial walkthrough how to just get set up. And then there's going to be a whole series of videos walking you through every section, every exercise. I'll be so happy to talk you through it, give you the insight that you need to know, give you some potential options, some pros and cons of various decisions that you might make, and just really set you up for success and hopefully empower you to use this planner to be intentional from start to finish. I'm excited. I hope you are too. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this around and let's do the initial setup of your new Essential Wedding and Engagement Planner. Okay, so this is the Essential Planner and it comes in this box. This is the outside box. It's a corrugated box and ships in this. And I will also mention that this particular planner is the hardcover version. And I bring that up because later this year, there will be a softcover version coming out, more on that later. And so the tour is gonna look a little bit different with the softcover. So just wanted to mention that. When you open the box up, this is what the inside looks like. And then the hardcover comes in this beautiful gift box and it's this pretty cream color and it has a foil seal. Let me see if I can get that to shine a little bit. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out of the box. All right, so this is the gift box that it comes in and it has this really pretty magnetic closure like so. When you open this up, you have your planner. So there's a card here with some info on how to share your progress and become part of the community of other couples who are planning their wedding and their marriage and their engagement season. So if you want to get connected, that's the information that you need there. And then here is the hardcover planner. So it has this really nice, really thick cover, the gold O-ring spiral binding, the gold protective covers, and some really pretty foil accents on the front. So when you open up the planner, the first thing that you're going to come to is this sleeve. And this sleeve is kind of intended for a few different purposes. It's totally up to you. If you just want to keep it inside your planner and have it be an accessory, that works. Otherwise, another thought that I had is that it would be a really beautiful place to keep your wedding vows. So if you are going to be writing personal vows and you'd like to handwrite them, there are sheets in here. I'll talk about this in one moment. These are the stickers. And the sheets are for your vows. They have, again, this beautiful, let's get out of the shadow here, this beautiful gold foil. And there are 2 sheets, one for each of you. And if you do decide to handwrite them on these sheets, there are lines on both sides. And if you want to use this to bring it up to the aisle at the time of your wedding ceremony, just for safekeeping, that would be great. So it's another thought, totally up to you about what works the best. So these are the planner stickers. I love them. They are printed on this high quality, clear, completely transparent sticker sheet. And so a lot of these stickers are transparent, as you can see. And these are just a really fun way to decorate and personalize your planner. So everyone is going to come with this sheet. There's also another sheet inside, which I'll show you in just a moment. Okay, so the first page of the planner is your title page. Nothing much to do here, just this really pretty, again with the foil, title sheet. On the next page, you are going to write in your names and the day that you begin planning your big day. So this isn't your wedding date, this is the day that you start planning. And then on the next page is some information on organizing your monthly tabs. And I can go through that with you now just to get you set up. So the way that the planner is built is with a 12-month engagement in mind, or 1 year. And the reason for that is because that is typically how long the average couple spends in their engagement season. They spend about 1 year planning their wedding. And so that's why it's set up that way. But you don't have to have exactly 12 months. It's totally fine if you're going to be planning for more or for less. I'll tell you what to do in that case. So on the next page, you come to these month stickers. Again, they're on this really high quality, clear sticker sheet, and the stickers themselves are this really beautiful gold foil. There are 2 columns of months. You technically only need 1, but there's a second one just in case you need it. So what you're going to do is you're going to apply these stickers to the appropriate months. So this allows you to completely personalize this planner according to what your particular engagement season looks like. So just give me 1 sec, I'll get right back to that. But to show you the way that the tabs are set up, the first 4 tabs of this planner are already labeled. And these are the sections that you're going to want to work through, especially these first 2, the wedding planner and engagement planner tabs. These are the sections that you're going to want to work through as kind of your prep work, like the things that you're going to want to address and start thinking about before you even get to month 1. So that's why they're up here at the front of the planner. Wedding planner, engagement planner, and then the next tab is at a glance. So this is a place that you'll regularly be able to come back to for all the things that you're going to need to be able to glance at quickly. And then this section is your questions tab for vendors. So as you go out and you tour venues, tour vendors, these are a list of comprehensive questions that you're going to want to ask just to make sure that you cover everything and you can confidently move forward because you have all the information you need. Okay, so after those 4 sections, this is where you come to your month tabs. And again, they're these really pretty tabs. Every tabs page is really heavy, high quality, gold foil title, and gold foil on these tabs and gold foil on the stickers once you adhere them. So this is months 1 through 6. And then after that, you come to months 7 through 12. And so what you want to do is basically you want to work backwards. You want to start from the last tab. So this is your wedding day tab. This is where everything having to do with the day itself is going to go. And then the last tab is your last month before your wedding day. So let's say you're getting married toward the end of August, then your last month would be the month of August. If you're getting married at the very beginning of August, then your last month would be the month of July. So whatever your last month is leading up to your wedding, you're going to take that month sticker and you're going to adhere it here. And then you're just going to work backwards. So if you put July here, you'd go June there, May, April, March, February, and so on. And you're going to do that for 12 months, assuming that you have 12 months. If you have less than 12 months, that's totally fine. Just put as many stickers as you do have. If you only have 6 months, then you're only going to put the 6 months worth of stickers. But I still highly recommend that you read everything before those 6 months just to make sure that you've done everything that you need to do. And if you have more than 12 months, then you're just going to put your 12 months worth of stickers on these tabs, and the actual structured planning will begin in month 1. But you're totally welcomed and even encouraged to start before that 12-month mark. You just won't start with month 1 tab, but you can definitely be doing all your prep work, and you can even be reading the tabs so that you have an idea of what you should be thinking about, preparing for, planning for in advance. So I often tell my clients when I'm coordinating weddings that it's a good thing to have more than 12 months. And that's just because some of the more popular venues and some of the more in-demand vendors are going to book more than 12 months out. So if you have the time, you might as well be reaching out, meeting with them, getting proposals and that sort of thing, and even booking more than 12 months out, because the longer you have, the more options you have. I do have a planner where I have already adhered all the stickers. So just to show you what they look like, this is what your tabs are going to look like once all your month tabs are on there. And here is July through August. I'm sorry, July through December. There you go. Okay. So in terms of prep work, you're going to go ahead and you can read about the planner. There's a note from me. And then you're going to get started in the very first section, which is your master wedding planner section. And it's organized in order of what you want to do and when. And I also just want to stop and say really quick that I was very intentional with the way that this planner looks. I really wanted to do everything I could to kind of instill a sense of calm and a sense of, I can do this. This does not look too overwhelming. I'm not intimidated by it. I really wanted to minimize the distraction. So you're not going to see like big flowers over here and lots of different boxes and colors and little graphics. I know many planners have those, so certainly something that I considered. But as I got more and more into the layout and I worked with my designer, we just realized that the most valuable and hopefully helpful thing that we could offer couples was clarity and just peacefulness. And so as you flip through these pages, you'll notice that they're always just really clean, really easy, and that is very, very on purpose. Okay, so back to the wedding planner tab. The first thing you're going to tackle is selecting your wedding date. Now, you might already have a date in mind. Many couples do. And it could be like the date of your anniversary, like when you started dating, or when you two became engaged. Or it could be someone's birthday. It could be a holiday, like maybe you want to get married on Valentine's Day or New Year's Eve or Labor Day weekend. Those are popular as well. So if you already have a date in mind, great. That'll make things easier, although it will limit you a little bit, because if you're set on a date and then you find a venue you love and the venue's not available on that date, then it's probably not going to work. So obviously not having a date gives you more flexibility, but it's just up to you about what your priority is and what the most important thing is to you. If you don't have a date, then you might just start touring potential venues and asking them what dates they have available. You might even have just like a month in mind. You might say, tell me what your availability is in June. And then you can look at the potential dates in June and pick the one that works the best for you. I know that brides often think about when they're getting their period. They don't want to be on their period when they are getting married. So that's something to think about if you can look at the calendar and kind of look out and project. And then another thing is if you're working with a professional wedding coordinator, it's a really good thing to let him or her know if there are any specific dates that are out. And that's just because as a coordinator, you want to present your couple with potential venues that are a really good match. And so if there's a venue, but they don't have any availability on dates where the couple is open, like if the only dates the venue is available are not dates that the couple is interested in looking at, then you don't even want to present that venue. And so if you can kind of give your coordinator some guidance and some direction, he or she will be able to only present you with venues that you are going to love and that are going to work well. Okay, so you can read up on this. I won't read everything to you, but there's some information that you're going to want to keep in mind as you start thinking about potential wedding dates. On the next page, here is a list of all of the popular holidays and then just other dates that you might want to keep in mind as you consider potential wedding dates. Things like Super Bowl Sunday or the Final Four of March Madness. These are for the years 2020 through 2022. And so you might just want to run through this list and make sure that the date that you've chosen doesn't conflict with anything. Okay, this exercise is one that I'm really excited to walk you through. It's called What is Essential? And this planner is called the Essential Wedding and Engagement Planner, and that word essential was very much chosen on purpose. And the goal when it comes to thinking about what's essential, it's defined right here. It says, what is absolutely necessary and extremely important? Some synonyms are crucial, necessary, key, vital, indispensable, and required. I love that word indispensable because I think it really applies here. So basically what you want to do at the very beginning, as you start thinking about your big day, you start thinking about your budget, you start thinking about your potential guest count, which is definitely going to have an impact on your budget. The first thing you want to do, this is my high recommendation, is to think about what is essential to you too. And this exercise will help walk you through it. So you're going to want to envision your big day and say, what are key elements? What are the things that mean the most to me? It just wouldn't be a wedding day for me if it didn't include these things. You might even consider them as far as like how much of the budget you want to allocate. You might say, man, flowers, I'm just such a flowers person. And if there was even a place where I needed to go over budget or apply more, like a disproportionate amount to a certain category, flowers would be it. Because for me, flowers are essential. You might say the same thing about food, about music, entertainment, table linens, chairs. I mean, there's so many different things, and it's very much a personal choice. But the best thing you can do at this point in time is figure that out. Because I promise you, friends, as you start planning your wedding and you start attending meetings with vendors and walking through showrooms and doing meal tasting, there will be opportunity upon opportunity to overspend or to get influenced in certain ways where you thought you were set on a certain chair, but now you've seen a different one and now you're in love and you can't let it go. There's so many different ways that can happen. So if you can start by developing this list, it will really help you to prioritize and to keep your biggest priorities in the front of mind. So when you go out into the world and you start planning, you've already established what's most important to you. My recommendation is to look over this list. It's on the next page, and it includes all the most common elements of a wedding. This is the list, and my recommendation is for you to choose 3 things and call those your essentials. You might even have the bride do one, the groom do another, and maybe you compromise on the third. But 3 things that you are going to identify as being the most essential. And anything on this list that is non-essential, go ahead and just cross it off. Like if you're like, I don't even want that, it's not even a part of my vision, it's not important to me, then cross it off, and you can cross off as many as you would like. And then that way it's off the table. When you're creating your budget, you're not even budgeting for these things. They're not important to you. And then 3 things, a maximum of 3 that are your essentials. We'll talk more about that later, but this is a really helpful exercise, and I love it when couples do it at the beginning. So moving on to the next page, we're on 23. This is your budgeting page. And there's some information here on the average wedding budget in America, some numbers that you're going to want to keep in mind if you want to land on certain guest counts. Like for instance, if you would like to have a guest count of approximately 250, then based on the math and just what we typically see in the wedding industry of the number of guests who will and will not be able to attend, you're going to want to invite around 286. That will land you at a confirmed guest count of about 250. Then there is some information on how to budget and how to talk to anyone who will be contributing to your budget. If your parents are helping out or other family members, anyone that might be contributing, here's some information on the best way to have a conversation with them and in what order to have that budget meeting. And then some additional notes. I'm, again, not going to do all the reading. I know you have this planner, and so I want you to just be able to refer to yours. But on the next page, this is another really helpful exercise. This is the comprehensive budget breakdown. So these are the main categories of a wedding, things like your reception, photography and videography, florals, attire, wedding coordination, music, and so on. And then there are percentages that are recommended allocations to each category. Now you're welcome to adjust these percentages, especially if, let's say, it's not coming out of the budget. For instance, let's say your parents have said, we will take care of the flowers. Just take that out of your budget, whatever the flowers cost. That'll just be our contribution to the budget. So you don't have to consider it as part of your larger budget. You can go ahead and pull that category out entirely and then reallocate. So if, let's say, it's flowers, the recommendation for flowers is 6 to 10% of your budget. So if someone's going to pay for flowers, you can just take that 6 to 10% and add it to a different category. So you can boost up your ceremony by 6%, for instance. Okay, so you're going to want to make any adjustments according to your essentials and according to who's doing what with your budget. And after that, you're going to want to take your total budgeted amount and you are going to do the math. And the reason I can't do that is because I use my phone to record, so I can't use my calculator function while I'm recording this for you. But go ahead and crunch those numbers, 48%, 13 to 15%. And it's a range because it just really depends on what's important to you. Obviously, you're going to go for the lower number if you're booking a lower price point photographer or videographer, if it's a higher price point photographer or videographer, or let's say you don't know what the price points are yet, but you know that photography is really important, so you want to give the whole 15%. If you're like, photography isn't that important, we'll go out and find a photographer at a lower price point, I'm okay with that, it's not a high priority for me, then go ahead and plug in the number that's 13%. Okay, so after you've come up with your comprehensive budget breakdown, you are ready to go. You're ready to get started. So on page 27, you're going to come to selecting your wedding venue. There's lots of information for you to read over and consider as you begin this process. Some questions that you can ask yourself to help narrow down. Some just other things that you might want to think about, like what the minimum guest capacity should be. Is there a certain time of the day that you'd really like your wedding to take place? How late would you like your wedding to go? So you're going to do all this prep work and really kind of hone in on your vision and your priorities and ask yourself these important questions. And then it's time to start brainstorming. So this is broken up into different categories. And the goal there, I really wanted to just give you some ideas to think about. So maybe it didn't occur to you to think of potential like art galleries or lofts in your area and use them as a potential wedding venue. And so hotels, I mean, that's a pretty popular one, hotels and resorts. If there are any recreation centers near you, that might be something to consider. Museums, country clubs, and golf courses, and it goes on and on. So if something occurs to you, if you're like, oh yeah, there's that one gallery over on whatever that street is, we should check that out, write it down. And as you look through these categories, anything that comes to mind that you want to consider, then write it down. Just start taking notes for yourself. It's kind of like a wedding venue brain dump to get you started. All right, then we come to the next section. This is actually a larger section, and this is your master engagement planner. So this is the prep work you're going to want to do at this point to start thinking about marriage and about married life and what you want that to look like. So it's a lot of conversation starters, it's goal setting, personal and relationship goal setting, that sort of thing. So here's this whole thing I won't read to you, but it's on preparing for I do. And then there are exercises for both the bride and the groom getting to know each other. Now I know that you're getting married, and so you obviously know each other. And so these are not basic questions that you should definitely already know, but it's kind of deeper questions, things that you might not have even asked yourself. And hopefully it really helps you to connect on a deeper level and just get closer and closer to each other. So there's several pages for the bride, and it's things on like your philanthropy, how your past has shaped you, your religious and spiritual life, thoughts on parenthood, all that good stuff. And then family life, professional life, education, that sort of thing. And then it repeats for the groom. You can do these together or you can do them separately. It's totally up to you, but I really think it would be fun and really valuable to spend the time doing these. And then this one you are definitely going to want to do together. That's why it's called a two, as in the two of you do. Anything called the two do is things that you should do together. And this exercise is one where you are recording the big moments of your relationship so far. And one of the things that I had in mind when I created this planner was that it would become a keepsake, something that you two can refer back to time and time again throughout the course of your marriage, and something that even maybe if you two are planning on having kids or like grandkids someday, this could be a really cool keepsake souvenir type of a thing. Like just it's your history, it's your story, it's part of your legacy. And so this could be something really fun for your own record keeping and something that your family can reference to someday. Okay. The next page, this is a good one. There's a podcast episode called Your Marriage Mission Statement and Core Values. I highly recommend that you check it out. It'll give you a lot of information on what to be thinking about here and some extra context. I recorded that episode with a premarital therapist, and she also owns a group. It's called Millennial Life Counseling. And so she's a fantastic resource and so full of wisdom and insight. And so we talked a lot about your marriage mission statement and core values, what they should include, why you should figure out what they are. Just do this work. It's important work for your marriage, especially as you two are engaged and building the foundation for your married life. This is a really, really good starting point. And so that's what this exercise is. Moving on to the next page. This one is called, it's another to-do, so you're going to want to do it together. It's called Defining Roles and Expectations. So basically, I have found in just my own personal story and in research that I do as I talk to couples that a lot of the time people are almost kind of like thrust into certain roles and certain expectations are placed on them. And it may or may not have been deliberate. They might have just kind of become, whatever it is. Here are some ideas. There's places that you can write other examples, but, you can do a lot of note taking here as you kind of unpack and brainstorm potential roles and expectations before you plug these in. But a lot of people are like, I don't know when it just kind of fell on me to keep our budget or to be the social calendar when I was the one that all of our friends reached out to. I'm not really sure how that happened. It just kind of evolved that way. And if you're happy with it, then great. Go ahead and write it down. Say, yeah, I love that. That is my role. Let's do it. But you might say, I kind of resent it. We never talked about it. It just kind of fell on me and I don't want it. Or you might say, look what happened. I do 80% of the things and I resent that. I don't feel like it's fair. So this is a really good time at this point in your relationship as you're heading toward marriage to just check in and say, what are the expectations? What are the responsibilities that I want to take? What are the ones that I think you'd be better at? You can have these conversations. You can do them together. There's definitely a column where you can say both of us, we're both going to manage these. But I know a lot of hostility comes from falling into roles that you never asked for, never wanted, and just kind of day by day, it eats at you a little bit. So in order to really have a fresh start at this point and to build a marriage that is fulfilling for both of you and really allows you to flourish and to become the people that you want to become, I think one of the best things you could do is just have that conversation. So here you go. Again, room for notes and then room to write these things in and then room for you to add as many others as you would like. I don't mean to like stereotype, and you might say, neither of us is going to do the shopping. Like we're both going to do the shopping. That's silly. I'm not going to be the shopper. We don't need a shopper. That's okay. These are just ideas. And you can even cross that out and write something else there. If there's something more relevant, cross it out entirely. This is yours to do whatever you wish with. Okay. This next page is the visual guide and it's a breakdown, and there's one for the bride and there's one for the groom. And again, this just is a part of checking in and saying, how am I feeling? How am I doing? What am I enjoying right now? What's working well? What's not working so well? What's serving me? What is not serving me? What do I want to bring into marriage? What should not be coming into marriage? That sort of thing. So for every circle, it represents a different aspect of your life, your professional life, educational life, friendships, wellness, spiritual life, family life, my relationship with my fiance's family, and my relationship with my fiance's friends. So the goal here in this exercise is to start writing in how you're feeling at this point in time in each of these different aspects of life. You're also going to circle the number beneath that reflects how you're feeling. So a 1 would be I'm not feeling so great at all, and a 5 would be like I'm feeling really great about this. There's another exercise exactly like this later in the planner because I would love for you to revisit. Now that it's on your mind, now that you're thinking about it, if it's something that you want to spend time working on, you might go ahead and write your notes and give it a score and then revisit later and see how it's changed. That could be really beneficial and just a really cleansing experience to work on something that you've been wanting to work on for a while and something that you know is going to contribute to a happy and healthy marriage now. So, you might just want to start giving it more time and focus. So that's why that's there. All right, now we come to these worksheets, the bride's personal goals for her first year of married life, and the same for the groom. These are goals that you can start writing down for yourself. There are 12 of them because you're going to tackle one goal in every month. And they don't necessarily have to do with your relationship. They can definitely be personal goals, just something for yourself and something for the groom self as well. And it can be anything that you want it to be. But as I said, we're going to spend a lot of time goal setting and unpacking and really honing in on how to accomplish each of these 12 goals. So here, this is just the place where you're going to write them down as part of your prep work. Okay, then we get to the big financial picture. Now, this one is probably the toughest exercise maybe in the whole planner, and I get it, but it's in here because it's really important. Did you know that arguments about money are one of the top 3 leading causes of divorce? In a survey of more than 1,000 married people, 32% indicated that money was the single most important topic for couples to discuss prior to getting married. This is in an article called What to Do Before You Say I Do. So for that reason, I thought it would be good to just tackle this. So here is a breakdown of some numbers, like the things that the financial arguments tend to be about. Lots of information for you to read. And now it's time to have an honest conversation about your own financial profiles. So there's one for the bride and there's one for the groom. And you guys might be totally aware of each of your profiles. Let's hope you are, since you're engaged. But if you're not, now is a great time to put pen to paper and write this down. So this is a place where you can break down your entire financial profile as it stands today. And then your expectations, financial expectations, just to make sure you're on the same page. So like, how do you expect to contribute financially at the beginning of your marriage? How do you expect to contribute if and when you two become parents? And how do you expect to contribute when your children are out of the house, when you're empty nesters? More expectations about how your spouse will contribute, what are your expectations there? And then just some, basic ideas like, when do you think you're going to purchase your first home? Of course, this is if you haven't already. When do you think you might do that if you want to do it? How many vacations do you want to take every year? What amount of money do you want to set aside for like gifts for the holiday season? Again, lots of places for notes and continued conversation, but this should hopefully just get that conversation started. So you know that you're both coming to this marriage open and honest with each other and just kind of in alignment, because finances do play a big part of a marriage. After that, fears about how married life might change us. There's a place for you to write down 4 fears. If you don't have any fears, that's totally fine. But if you do, it's a good place to write them down, get them out, and maybe begin a conversation. This is a to-do because you guys can work on it together and hopefully just talk about it. Just open up with each other and address those things, and hopefully have a really great, productive conversation that makes you both feel even better. Okay, so in the next section, we come to developing and cultivating healthy habits. And there are worksheets for both the bride and the groom that are health and wellness snapshots. So this is your opportunity to do some goal setting, to just really think about your health and your wellness and all the things that come with that in this season of life. You want to live this season to its fullest. It's such an exciting time. And so I thought it would be really helpful to be intentional about checking in on things and just make sure that you're feeling great and you're headed toward a marriage in the best state possible, where you're like, I am ready for this. I'm happy. I've been planning. I've been goal setting. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to take this next really big step and move into this next big season of my life. So it has things like your eating habits, just tracking those and thinking about them and thinking about maybe potential ways to improve. I don't want to make any assumptions. If you're super happy with the way that you're eating, that's great. Just write that down. So eating habits, fitness, mindfulness, self-care, your mental health, smartphone and social media, and then the 66-day challenge. I love this. This is so fun for me. So the 66-day challenge, I came up with that based on the findings of a study that came out of the University of London. And it shows that it takes about 66 days to form a habit. So basically, what you do as daily practice over the course of 66 days will become habit. And that can go either for things that you want to make a new habit of, like make sure, like let's say you're trying to implement a new daily practice and you want that to become habit, or you already have a habit and you don't love it and you want to start working on undoing that habit, breaking it. So you would again spend 66 days to do that. So the 66-day challenge is my challenge to the people who use this planner to challenge themselves to something over the course of 66 days. There are ideas down here at the bottom. There are places for you to kind of unpack and take some notes and answer some questions to help you really hone in on what that challenge could be, what some habits that you want to make or break might be, and there's going to be tracking of that all throughout the course of the planner. And finally, weight loss or weight gain. If you don't have any weight to lose or gain, skip this entirely. I do not mean to imply that you do by any means. It's just that I know that it's relatively common for brides or grooms to have weight loss or weight gain goals for their wedding day. So that's why it's included. If you do, hopefully this is a really helpful exercise. And if you don't, skip right on over it. Okay, and then the next pages are the same exercise, but for the groom. And that's it. That is your prep work. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments below. I also cannot wait to hear how this goes for you. And I think we can all be cheering each other along. I know I want to cheer you on, but I know that there's a community of engaged couples out there who are on this journey with you. You guys are planning at the same time. You're probably having a lot of the same thoughts, the same challenges, the same goals. And so I love the idea of all of us cheering for each other and doing this together. And so please feel free to comment below if there's anything I or anyone in this community can do to answer a question, cheer you on, help you out, give you advice, share our experiences. Please comment below. I love that. I really hope you do too. Anyway, I hope this was helpful and stay tuned for other videos where we're going to be unpacking all the sections of this planner. Hey friends, thanks so much for watching and I hope it's been helpful. This planner is brand new. It just came out, which means I am going to be unrolling a whole line of videos designed to help you set up your planner, use your planner well, and just really make the most of this season. So I really want to make sure you don't miss a single video. They're going to be rolling out like almost daily. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube by hitting subscribe below. And if you have any questions or there's anything I can answer for you, or other couples using it as well, I'm gonna call you guys essentialists. If any of us can answer any questions for you or give you some advice, we'd be more than happy to. Write your question below and we'll get right back. Also, I referenced the podcast several times in this episode. The podcast, once again, is called Essential Wedding Podcast, and it's on all podcast platforms. So if you'd like more information on anything that is inside the planner, you'll notice down in small print at the bottom of a page, if there's a podcast episode associated with it, you can head over there and just hear a lot, like learn as much as you need to know on that subject. Anyway, thanks again for following, and I'll see you in the next video.